people overwhelmed. Tragedy striking, it's always like they're helping themselves. I saw my papers yesterday, it felt like I was 12. Them prices hitting suddenly, you not under the spell. Only the illusions, shocking in the moment like it's Anthony Faluca. The price of eggs is crazy if you watching how the flu was. Your job report was mending while those tariffs didn't do much. Stocks dipped and it blew up. What signs is it that you threw up? I saw that shit and then threw up. That graduation defense versus the Diddy one that he queued up. You crashing out in a moment and double down on your Doges and Steve Bannon. Come back, yo, does Elon know where it's going? Get the fuck out. Trying to flip a buck out. Raiding each department for your ego. Trying to steamroll what you cut down. Mad about a chair, I don't fuck around with despair. We had Howard Dean in 05 and 09, yo, he wasn't there. I ain't here to reward tantrums. Watching all these gossipy bitches give bad answers. I ain't fuck with doomers, I'd rather be fantastic. Watching an executive pussy out from a label so offended by Young Chapel. Shut up, who was you fooling? We at the Super Bowl. No Degrassi, we passing GNX, you could hold the cold. All of those orders we tell you fucking performing. It was about women's sports. Shut up, JK, your shit is boring. Conspiracy theories cutting every department. I saw the numbers going under like every target. No DEI, they going under like every target. Watch them backpedal the plan they made about Gaza, what's up? All this corruption from big apps who give dabs. That content nuke's just a whack or pass at a diss track. Trying to be whatever you can't be. I don't care where it lands me till my fuck yous turn into Grammys. Get up! It's like that. I ain't hear no fucking bell. This is the third variation of me trying another camera program because my life exists within the fucking machine. Hey, thank you guys so much for watching Freestyle the News. If you like what you heard, please jump into the forest wearing camouflage digs as a special agent operative trying to find your old mentor who has for some reason teamed up with a bunch of insane people using quasi-nuclear like buttons before nuclear like buttons even existed. The predecessor to what would eventually be called Metal Gear, and challenge them to a battle where you have to reevaluate your whole psyche and what you were loyal to, eventually losing your left eye and becoming the titular villain you once sought to overcome. And then leave a comment on your favorite bar. Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta looks absolutely fucking incredible. And I have some really mixed feelings about this whole thing, particularly because Hideo Kojima is not involved and Konami fucked him over for a paycheck. But then again, he did make a game about a baby in a jar who you travel with while you deliver packages in the United States. Hideo's a good guy. I'm a really, really huge fan of Snake Eater, so I was excited to see this. And there was a lot of really amazing media in general this week. The Fantastic Four trailer, really, really good stuff. I really love the aesthetic and the vibe. And I actually do think Pedro's gonna do a pretty good job as Reed Richards, despite what a bunch of fucking idiots on Twitter think. We didn't get to talk about the Grammys, but I'm happy Beyonce finally won. And I'm really happy for Kendrick taking that sweep to Canada's prized, or at this point disowned treasure, who knows. And one more thing before we jump into the breakdown, I do want to say, like all of you requested, what did I fucking say merch is coming next week. Kind of trying to solidify a design, but I'll have plenty of stuff like that for you. But anyway, that's enough of that. Let's get into the breakdown. And obviously, nothing happened this week. Nothing really pressing. Can't fool you. It was another absolutely insane week in Washington, actually just around the country in general, as Elon Musk's crusade through the federal government got more and more and more press attention as the week went forward. And we talked about this on Wednesday, but much of Trump's strategy of publicly trying to counter headlines while he also tries to influence them kept on pushing. And there are a lot of things involved here, a lot of moving pieces, so I'm going to try to get through them in a pretty organized manner and not try to over detail some of the things involved with my very clear ADHD. Okay, for starters, Trump signed another executive order banning trans women in sports. This directive is through Title IX and will pretty much seek to revoke Title IX funding to schools who allow trans women to participate in women's sports. J.K. Rowling had a lot to say about this in a tweet, but she writes a shittier version of Naruto, so I don't go read One Piece, it's better. In addition to that, sorry, Daniel Radcliffe, Trump actually backed down from the majority of tariffs he announced at the beginning of the week, after markets tanked and then rebound and Mexico and Canada did what they were going to do. However, his trade war with China is still pretty much there, and it's getting more and more tense. And there was a point earlier in the week where all packages from China and Hong Kong were halted through the USPS, and then they were reinstated, but there was a fee added to those packages moving forward. But also, yes, we're not done with crazy moves. The Department of Justice started to go out of their way to dismiss a ton of FBI staffers in charge of investigating election interference from foreign entities. Also, they started dismissing anybody who had ever interacted with the election interference cases that Trump was on, which gotta be impartial. The FCC also released the uncut 60 Minutes transcript interview with Kamala Harris, which, you know, I'm not voting for her now. I mean, look, so I was waiting for this one. And look, we're gonna talk about Elon Musk in a second, but we also got to talk about Trump meeting Benjamin Netanyahu, because Trump at a press conference with Netanyahu claimed that Israel would hand Gaza over to the US and he would change it into, quote, the Riviera of the Middle East. Fucking clown. Now, this did not go over well with lots of fucking people, obviously, and days later, Trump walked it back and said, actually, the US will help with the resettlement regarding Gaza and that the Palestinians should leave and just go to Jordan. Okay. Secure Borders man says, go over that one. Now, this went over a little bit better. No, it fucking didn't. It went over like shit. With countries like Jordan, Egypt, China, Germany, fucking everybody being like, hey, this is ethnic cleansing. You fucking muppet. Like, all those countries rejecting the plan outright. And not only that, but this complicated an already difficult deal Trump wanted to make between the Saudis and the Israelis to normalize ties between the two. And in a lot of places with large Muslim or Arab American population, you know, like Dearborn, Michigan, across the country, many Muslims and Arabs were obviously very frustrated and hurt by these proposals. With the widespread backlash leading to Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, oh, she spells that with a fucking K like Ashley, with an L-E-I-G-H, or a Z with a... Shut the fuck up. Caroline Leavitt walking back the policy, saying that Palestinians would only have to leave temporarily while Gaza was rebuilt, and the US would not foot the bill. Now listen, let's go through the first part. I stand by what I said on Wednesday. Trump is once again mashing the buttons as he tries to restructure things at the FBI with all of these executive orders as he tries to overwhelm everybody in these first 100 days. The strategy that is meant to exhaust you as much as possible from the news cycle, look at this shiny object while I do this, it's pretty transparent, but I will say, obviously, the cruelty towards trans people in all this is absolutely fucked up. Trump has a bunch of petty executive orders here, and he keeps doing that to trans people to own the libs or whatever at the expense of these people's humanity. But one thing to note is that in polls conducted around Trump's executive order, there is far less support for his anti-trans rhetoric and culture war bullshit in general, as much as he tries to double down and fucking pressure with it. It does seem like the cruelty in those orders is proving frustrating to more and more of the American public. A majority of Americans don't approve of those kind of orders. Now, that doesn't minimize the damage, obviously, and this is horrifically discriminatory and has nothing to fucking do with women's sports. Like, if you ask Donald Trump about Angel Reese, he'll be like, the peanut butter cup? But like I said, public opinion is not on his side, and as more of the culture shifts against him, the more his orders fire back on him. In the last few months, it's become increasingly brazen the way companies try to use your own data against you, the way they traded, the way they collected from you, sometimes without even your consent. We've spoken multiple times on this program about data brokers and how apps like to take advantage of you, taking everything from your address, your name, your age, your biometric data, and the way that translates to spam calls, compromised emails, and a whole slew of other problems when it's in the hands of a bad faith actor. I've been really passionate about this for a while, and that's why I'm thankful to be a subscriber to Incogni, the sponsor of today's show. I've said it before, I'll say it again, Incogni is the set it and forget it solution to data privacy. They go out of their way to find out where your data has been taken and jump through all of the loopholes, all of the barriers these companies put in place in order to get this stuff taken down, all of the legalese, all of the things that need to be sent. Incogni takes care of all of that. I've talked before on this program how I had an email that had been compromised for years, and then using Incogni, I've actually been able to get that email back. I don't have this fear of my data or my phone number being traded willy-nilly. Also, that's a big thing. When I signed up for Incogni, I had a huge reduction in spam calls. And on top of that, Incogni has a dashboard and sends you a report every single month about how your data is doing. Here's my report when I started Incogni. Here's my report now. The number of takedowns has gone significantly up. And right now, if you go to incogni.com/Tabani, enter in the code Tabani, you can get 60% off an Incogni subscription today. 60% off? Wow, that's almost as much as the amount of episodes I've had to fucking delay because of this insane news cycle. I really do believe in this stuff. I think it's really, really important for you to have. So if you're looking for a way to protect your data, if you want to make sure you get less spam calls or less bad faith people trying to advertise to you, and if you like this cool fucking rap show and you want to support it in some way, go to incogni.com/Tabani, enter in the code Tabani, and get some peace of mind. All right, back to the breakdown. But the other thing I do want to touch on before we get to Elon is Gaza, particularly the liberal pundit party line reaction from that. Because amidst all the doomerism from places like Midas Touch or the team mentality of Harry Sisson and fucking Keith Olbermann, who wishes he was Jon Stewart but never will be, you would hear some variation every so often of, hey, all you anti-Kamala leftists, how do you feel about Gaza now? All these pro-Palestinian activists, sorry, it's all your fault. So before I jump into all this, I'm just gonna say, if you were one of the people frustrated by contrarians who wouldn't listen to what would happen to the civilians of Gaza if Trump was elected, and are also hurt by this, I'm not talking about you in any of what I'm about to say, okay? That being said, to people who tweeted the aforementioned, shut the fuck up and literally fuck your own face. I shit-talked Jill Stein so much, man. It's like a fucking like I could make a shirt with the amount I've shit-talked Jill Stein. For the better half of last year, I also directly advocated and voted for Kamala Harris, while at the same time advocating and raising awareness for the Palestinians, hearing stories of toddlers losing their fucking limbs. And in the midst of trying to be nuanced and even-handed, I caught a rash of shit from Biden loyalists, anti-Biden leftists, and Trumpers. Somehow, all of them found one thing to agree upon, and it's that they just want to fucking complain. So having been somebody who survived that bullshit purity test you've been giving, believe me when I say this, objectively, as in this is a fact and your opinion's not gonna fucking change this. This is like, it happened, okay? Pro-Palestinian protests did not lose Kamala Harris the election. That's not my opinion. This fucking data. If you took all of the votes in Michigan for Jill Stein, not just Dearborn, so we're buffing your fucking numbers here, and you added it to the Kamala Harris total in Michigan, she would have still lost fucking Michigan. The number one indicator in every single data point we have learned since the 2024 election, how the fuck are we still talking about this, is the fucking economy. They like said it. This is the Eric Andre meme with the gun who's like, who shot Hannibal? You did, Eric. You! Secondly, when I see snarky comments directed at me on my page that say, so did I imagine the protest outside of the Harris campaign events and the DNC? Did I imagine a leader in the pro-Palestine movement saying in an interview to vote for Trump or Jill Stein? Yeah, you fucking did, you idiot. Abandon Harris is not a leader in the pro-Palestine movement. They're a fringe group multiple Palestinian and Muslim leaders said don't fucking listen to. They're grifting you. We did a whole fucking story on them. And again, I voted for Kamala Harris, and I am one of the people who feel for the family members of my friends dying in Gaza. And if you are that much of an empathetically bankrupt fucking human being to be like, serves you right, told you so, I don't feel bad. Guess you gotta have it worse because the candidate lost. What does that say about your flimsy fucking morality, you bitchy child? Hey, look, there's a group Women for Trump. I guess that means that every time somebody complains about bleeding into an alley from lack of abortion access, you're gonna be like, you get what you pay for. Does that encapsulate your worldview of how to look at different groups trying to find some sort of activism in this shithole we're in? If you are judging an entire movement for stopping the deaths of innocent civilians in a controversial war by the most destabilized versions of that argument and pretending like that's the majority opinion, maybe you are like the Cheneys after all. Suddenly, their appeal makes sense. Secondly, while you fix your mouth to talk about the people outside of the DNC, that was the uncommitted movement. The uncommitted movement voted for Harris. There was one small moment where they gained any sort of press traction, and you read a fucking headline and didn't look into the material context of what they were doing, which isn't that what you criticize a majority of MAGA world for? Their speech outside of the Democratic National Committee, which they were invited to, by the way, by the Democratic National Committee, was unapologetically pro-Harris. It was Ruah Rahman telling people you should vote for Harris. As a Palestinian, I want this to happen. There were people who spoke on the DNC stage who were part of the process of giving Harris that nomination, who fucking backed them. The uncommitted movement knocked on doors. They reached out to disaffected Muslims nationwide. They were doing so much work to try to get her elected. And while they were doing that, they were harassed by the Abandon Harris campaign, which was a campaign directly meant to siphon votes from Harris. They were brigaded and targeted by them and disaffected liberal pundits who wanted to use them as a scapegoat and dunk for fucking Twitter points. And before you go, I didn't see any pro-Palestinians advocate for Harris. First off, Mehdi Hassan, Ruah Rahman, Dr. Zaher Salul, fuck me. Google is free, bitch. It is so unbelievably disingenuous to paint the entire movement that says we need a better solution to this as the problem when there is data, like votes and numbers and people literally telling you, hey, we don't like that you're campaigning with fucking Liz Cheney and we're really mad that Biden is old. Also, please stop doing softball interviews. All of it was out there. So you are not fucking slick with this, you get what you pay for. Because I voted for Harris and your flippant bullshit reaction to that is fucking disgusting. Dismissing people I worry about fucking dying, you useless, callous little bitch. I hope you and all of the Jill Stein voters and Madeline Pendleton stands all could just get together and just fuck each other already, while everybody else just gets on with doing the work that needs to be done to combat this administration effectively. Fuck you for that. All right, sorry, I just had to get that off my chest. Okay, cool. Now let's move on to a much less tense, it's Elon Musk. It's Elon Musk. It's Elon Musk. Earlier in the week, I commented on the pushback Elon was getting. I'm gonna blow a fucking blood vessel somehow. Due to this brand new news cycle now becoming a vulnerability for Trump midway through its lifespan. Once again, to remind people, Elon is not a popular part of Trump's administration, right? It's a pretty widespread feeling that what he is doing in the government is not necessarily something that independents who voted for him and even some Republicans who voted for him want. And it looks like Elon doubling down on all of this shit hasn't done him any favors. In a brand new poll from Pew Research Center ending February 2nd, which means the worst is yet to come, Trump's approval rating is now at a net -3. Not fucking good. This early on, 3 weeks into what is supposed to be your honeymoon period. The executive orders, the tariffs, the fucking blitz of media stories seem to really be taking a toll. And a good example is that Elon Musk's overreach is now a very cemented story in the news cycle. Like, it's 100% a narrative that is now driving. Democrats are consistently messaging about it. Protests have popped up around DC. You're seeing think pieces from random blogs, fundraising emails from multiple candidates. Those are the kind of counters opposition parties need, and they go for it in order to curb some of the worst abuses. I will take that instead of Chuck Schumer every few minutes in front of a podium talking at a pace that makes me feel like I'm watching wallpaper dry. Now, does that mean Elon has been stopped and now he has to sit in a room and just pretend like he founded Tesla like he did in real life? No. Although the latter part is true, he didn't actually found Tesla. Go look it up. Elon still has access to parts of the government with his pet project, no pun intended. But his leash on how far he can go is shrinking. Seriously, no pun intended. I just realized that it's leash and it's I fucking hate this name. Trump will double down and try to make himself look better, and US aid is a good example of that. Speaking of which, there were a ton of conspiracies going around everywhere about US aid over the weekend. For example, one was that they were funding Politico, which is untrue and misleading. Another was that they funded a trans opera somewhere as a line item. What the fuck? Look, Elon getting access to classified details and trying to just slash the federal government through Doge is fucking catastrophic in terms of just anybody even trying to do that in the first place. It's horrific. But a thing not to lose sight of is public outcry is increasing the amount of pushback this admin is getting for moves like this. There is no reason for Caroline Leavitt to walk back the Gaza policy or for US aid to be this debate if they have complete control. It is hurting the brand. And look, you're not going to see Elon Musk goes to timeout as a headline anytime soon, but you are seeing more and more hesitancy from the Republican orthodoxy. Even though they'll try to co-sign little performative things like rehiring that Doge staffer back to make it look like we're all in line. And while a federal judge did block a union challenge to Doge accessing certain files, another federal judge blocked Musk's access to the Treasury about 9 minutes before I started recording this. And I've given you plenty of analogs from 2005, but I'll give you one from 2017. Steve Bannon is the closest comparison we have to this guy. And Bannon caused a ton of shit and ended up leaving very, very short into the Trump presidency. I don't know what's going to happen with Elon Musk. I'm sure there will be more of the same shit in the coming weeks. I'm sure he's going to have a lot more similarities with Steve Bannon that pop up in the near future. But I also know he is a fucking troll who will make contrarian moves to spite people no matter who it hurts. That's his power, similar to Trump. If he gets accused of overreach, he's going to double down and reach more. If he gets accused of him and Trump not getting along, he's going to be all buddy-buddy with him. If he gets accused of paying people to play Path of Exile, he'll fuck up playing Path of Exile. And then if he's shown behind the Resolute desk like he's the man in charge and somebody with fucking McDonald's fingers sees it, then I think him and his boss are going to eventually have to have a talk. We'll have to see how this all shakes out. But once again, because people keep asking me, yes, there will still be midterms. Elon Musk has not decentralized the government. Okay, the government it's still there. Like the thing is, I talked about this. Keep pushing back, keep moving forward. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hey, so there are a couple more stories that I wanted to talk about, and I had an update, so I'm doing this out in my living room. Let's talk about Kanye West. Great. So if you didn't hear, Kanye West is back on Twitter. And if you didn't feel like he was already being weird by the, I don't know, nearly 5 to 7 years he's been crashing the fuck out publicly. That's not counting the like 2 decades he's been doing that. Or his appearance at the Grammys where Bianca Censori was like pretty much naked. Or the time where he wore a gimp suit on the Alex Jones show and then praised a very famous German painter. But shit, dude, he made Graduation. Well, I want you to hold your judgment there, buddy. There's a lot to parse through with his latest additions to the discourse. So let me just read you some highlights. So number 1, I'm a Nazi. Let's see if y'all give that money back. I love Hitler. Now what, bitches? Oh, it's a great start. Any black person offended by a swastika is a programmed slave. All right, I'm done. Kanye has been pretty much tweeting anti-Semitic stuff for almost a day, but at the same time claiming it's not anti-Semitic to be anti-Semitic. Getting all of the greatest hits of terrible people like Red Pill Media and fucking Jake Shields, with their defense being Kanye is calling out specific Jews. Oh, okay. The fuck? Here's the thing about this story. A big like talking point that everybody has made around this story is, will Kanye fans abandon him now? What's the excuse gonna be? What's the thing that they're gonna use to try to pretend to listen to his music some more and stan him? What's it gonna be? I have a news flash for you, right? Most reasonable people left that shit already. They're just like, I'm not fucking dealing with this anymore. Most reasonable people already did that. Obviously, anybody else defending this is insane, but why the fuck are we having our barometer be, hey, the insane people following a guy who said he loved Hitler finally admitted they were wrong? Woo woo! Like honestly, and this brings us back to Trump and Musk, and honestly, all the contrarianism that you see, even with people who are like never Kamala leftists or people who are accelerationists and fetishize the French Revolution. certain people want to dig their heels in and just don't want to admit they're wrong. And we always want the comeuppance. We always want like everyone in that group to be like, oh, we fucked up. But listen, man, Drake probably isn't going to admit he took the L. Trump is not going to be like, I was wrong and I've seen the error of my ways. Elon Musk is going to be Elon Musk. And Kanye is fucking crazy. Having the people with awful takes be your litmus test of whether society is progressing or whether the majority of society is okay is an inaccurate test. Okay? Most people don't feel that way. There's a reason Kanye West music is not everywhere like it used to be. There's a reason he was kicked out of the Grammys. If you want to have a conversation that some people don't think racism and bigotry and Nazism is a red line, I'm totally for that. I think that is a productive discussion which we need to talk about. Like, why do people not feel this is a red line enough? Are we selfish? Are we incentivized by the wrong things? But a good way to spiral into doomerism and a good way to hand over power to the worst people imaginable is to have them score the game. I'm tired of having Kanye apologists score the game. This is crazy. It's insane that it's gotten to this point, and it doesn't deserve the engagement. Anyway, I don't care that he made Graduation. I don't care what records you make. Music you make is a timestamp. People evolve and grow. And Kanye has it. Let me know what you think in the comments. But anyway, that's our show. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Sorry I got so angry. It's just like, I can't stand people homogenizing. Like, I went through the Iraq war where everybody was like, hey, all Muslims are fucking terrorists. And I have a line, dude. But anyway, we'll be back next week with another Zaid Talks. Yes, Griff Watch is still coming. I told people why I had to delay the episode. I'll explain it before I release it. But anyway, my name is Tabani. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see y'all soon.